Welcome to this episode of Travels with Maury. We're going to get you caught up on our travels from where we left off, which was in Spruce Grove. And then we decided to head off to Edson. Now, Edson, we had originally thought we were going to be sticking around there for 3 days, but it turned out that we had to shorten our stay due to some extensions that we needed to make in Spruce Grove. And we didn't do a lot of photos in this area. This is us driving into the campsite. And it was, as we have experienced so many times on this trip, very cloudy, very rainy. It rained that night. But we just kind of got in, set up. We were tired. We slept. We got up and we left.
Yes.
That was about it. So... and you weren't doing too much. You were
No.
just kind of resting and recuperating. It's a nice little campground. And I will say the thing that I really liked the most about this was we had, like I said, we had to change our plans. And these guys were so accommodating. It was amazing. And we were also, this is one of the little trails that we found. Trails went all over the place. But that's it. That's the only photo I took. But the next day it was quite nice. But I was saying about the folks at this campsite, not only were they very accommodating, but when we got there, they said, well, yeah, you've booked into whatever it was, site 12 or whatever. And it's a nice site, but it's not great. There's a bunch of others that are nicer than that. And they gave us a list of 4 different sites that were open that they thought were better than the one that we had. And we went and looked at them, and sure enough, one of them was like perfect for what we needed.
Oh, yeah.
And so we pulled in there instead, and they just quickly, changed it around. Just a really nice couple that are managing this particular place.
Weren't they young? And this is a life dream, and
yeah, well, they're managing
pushback too.
Yeah, managing various properties. This is one that they're doing, but yeah, this was a life dream to just be able to go and manage campgrounds and properties, and so that's what they're into. And yeah, it was nice, really, really nice people. And I think if we get a chance, we would certainly go back here again. But from there, we were off to Valemount. But of course, if you're going to go to Valemount,
You have to go through Jasper, and you have to stop at Mount Robson. I mean, that's a given in our family anyway.
so yeah, we always make a little day trip out of it into, however many hours into Jasper, which is what we did again this time. The only thing that I was really surprised about, I don't remember this before, but it seems like there's a lot more paid parking needed now in Jasper than there was in the past.
After 300 meters, turn right, Yellowhead Highway.
I don't remember that. It seemed to me that, because they make a lot of their money from tourism, that they'd be a little more...
A little flexible?
a little parking friendly. But, and of course you need your park pass, which you can see them reflected on our dash, in our dash cam as we were going.
As you can see, there's 2 of them, one for each of us.
Right, because
Just in case we get separated, I guess.
Yeah, as seniors, they don't have a deal to be able to buy 2 seniors passes. You have to buy one for each of us in order to be in the park. This is for our friend Anu. She wanted to know if we were in BC. Libby took that photo as we went by so we could send it to her. And 84K to Mount Robson. We always stop in Mount Robson.
Yes. You know what? In this picture, you can almost see the top. The clouds had lifted. See the difference?
Yeah, that was like
I didn't notice that.
half an hour later. Yeah, very seldom do you ever see the top of Mount Robson. But there's a nice place to go. We set up and made a lunch, and I think we spent probably 2 hours just hanging out here because it is such a nice area. This is our campground. So this is in Valemount. It is Canoe River Campground. And this one is, it was a nice spot. We really liked it. The campground itself is a little bit run down.
It's a little quirky.
But this was the funny part. So we come along and we find our site. This is site 13. And we pull forward, and then I back into the spot. And then as soon as we're backed in, we realize there's going to be a problem here because the utilities, as we discovered, were on the wrong side of the rig. So all of your utilities, so our power, water, sewer, are all on the driver's side. So when you back in, this is all on the passenger side. So there's our power and there's our water. Now, we do have a long enough water hose that if we were backed in, we would be able to make it. But our power cable isn't long enough. When you back into this site, you have to go far enough into the site to make sure that you're not bumping into the trees so you can put the slides out. And so we couldn't do it. So we ended up pulling forward, going down the road a little bit, backing up, and then pulling in forward in order for us to be able to hook up our utilities. And just barely were we able to get the power. But here's where the problem is. Once you're in here, the truck is all the way forward, and this is as far as the site goes. So we were able to unhook the truck, but there was really no place to get out. I guess I could have done that little and got out of here. But within 3 hours of us setting up, there was another camper in the site next to us, and there was no room for us to actually get out of the site. So I went in and I talked to the folks and I said, your utilities are on the wrong side. And they went, no, that's how we designed it. You pull in forward. And then I said, and then you're expecting people to back out of that site around a 90 degree to get out of here. And goes, yeah, that's how you do it. I don't think so. I think this, we found 6 other sites in this campground that were like this.
Out of 100 or 10 or something.
But the site has been owned by some folks for a very long time, some antique cars in the area. We spent Father's Day in that area. And this is actually Canoe River.
Here it is.
Maury watching Canoe River. And that's a train trestle way off in the distance. And you took photos of trains. They're way up on the ridge. Yeah, up on this big ridge. So after a couple of days there, again, rain. You can see the ground is pretty wet as we're getting ready to go out of here. What did you think of that site?
Other than the quirkiness, I really liked it. It was nice and roomy. If you had kids, they had room to, set up games or rough and tumble.
And there was a fairly large playground as well.
Yeah.
And it's hard to see it, but in this field that we're passing by right now over on the right-hand side, there was a little mini golf that was set up. It was a little bit run down, but fine if you wanted to play. The cabin where there's somebody that lives on site full time, and then she has a helper come in, drives down from Valemont in the afternoons to help out.
Oh, and when we were coming in and you go straight instead of turning to the campground, there's a rodeo ground there. And they don't just do rodeos, they do car thingies.
Yeah, like they do the mud bogs and stuff like that. So they actually go in and dig out a big hole full of water, and they get the trucks with the big tires to get across the rodeo grounds. I didn't take any photos of the rodeo grounds. There's a huge field next to the rodeo grounds, and Maury and I went out there every single day. I should have taken some video of him out playing and catching sticks and stuff, because he just loved that area.
And what was on the ground? Growing out of the ground?
Oh, yeah, wild strawberries all over the place.
I had one or two because someone didn't pick enough for everyone. Oh, wait, he did.
Someone picked enough for a whole family and then ate them on the way back to the trailer. That would be me. So we're back on the road. This is us. And so just a little bit up here, we leave Valemont and then turn back onto the main highway, and we ended up at Lell. And we found out about Lell because of your sister.
Yes, my sister gave us a list of places, and this was one of them. And we did miss the turnoff. As you can see, there's a little turnaround thing, but right at the highway, it's just, you could see a road, like a gravel thing. And so we missed it, and we were able to turn around. Thankfully, cars stopped at the turnoff for Crescent Spur. And that's a clue if you're trying to find...
It's a little tiny sign in the ditch.
In the ditch!
Blink it and you miss it.
Yes. And so you turn around at Crescent Spur turn off and go back 400 meters.
I was really nervous about this because this is the road. We left this going in real time, so you can take a look at it. It's a steep hill.
So you could wander along with us.
Yeah. And we're thinking, oh my gosh, what have we got ourselves into?
Is there going to be a lumber camp at the end of this?
Is there going to be enough room to turn around and get back out of here? And the further we went down, the more nervous I was that I was going to have to back out of this up a hill around corners. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is going to be a disaster.
But Sandy wouldn't give us something that, that would be that.
That wouldn't work. Yeah.
She's not vindictive.
Right. So as we got a little bit further down, and we know this is a pretty steep hill because Maury and I walk this every single day. That dog loves hills and he loves his walks. And so every day we would walk up this pathway or this roadway.
It doesn't look that steep. I find photos don't really show.
They don't. This is
steepness of hill.
This is a steep hill. The sound is off right now, but you'd be hearing the engine brake on our truck. Because it's trying to slow us down on this. But finally we saw a sign, and then you could sort of see some things through the trees, and it looked like, wait a minute, there's a clearing below us.
There's something there.
And then we got our first sight of a picnic table. And yes, there was a loud sigh. We like, okay, it looks like there's going to be at least enough room to move here. And as we came around this last corner, we did see one other trailer that was parked there.
And we turned the corner.
Yeah,
okay, it's slow. We were going slowly. We weren't going fast, obviously.
Yeah.
We didn't have the TR7.
No. So, and here we are. There's the lake.
And there's Donna's.
Yeah. So Donna is a school teacher in Prince George, and she was down here. I think she said she was going to be here for a month. And when we arrived, she was the only other person in the campground. I stopped here and walked down through the circle. I didn't know it was a circle. I had no idea where we were going, but I wanted to make sure I could get the rig out. And once we decided that, yeah, I can do this, we went and found a nice site. Now there's 20 sites here at this location. Mm-hmm. We were the second one in. By the next morning, there were 13 of 20 hooked up. Now, this is LaSalle Lake itself, and just to show you how close we were camping to this lake, all I had to do was turn around and from the edge of the lake to us, and that was it.
Other than Donna's, we had the only access to the lake.
Yeah. And beautiful little site. Now, the thing about this, there's a one kind of negative and one really huge positive. On the negative side, for those that need power, water, sewer hookup, doesn't exist. These are non-service sites. On the positive side, however, it's free.
Oh, and quiet.
And quiet.
Free.
And quiet.
And free.
And quiet.
And free.
It was really nice.
It's really nice. I mean, it's beautiful, and they're not charging?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And they supply fire pits and picnic tables. On our site, there were 2 picnic tables. So right now, I'm wondering if maybe this was a double site. But the other picnic table was kind of
there was a new one. There was one that was built in. So when they first put this campsite together, they put in the old concrete ones. And then a lot of those were starting to fall apart. So they brought in new picnic tables. Our site just ended up with 2 picnic tables.
It wasn't falling apart. It was just falling.
Others in the campground were falling apart. There were chunks that were falling off of them. So that's what they did. They just came and brought in some new picnic tables. There's my tomato plant. It was doing so well. It is actually still doing very well. There's Maury hanging on the road. There was nobody in the area. So, he's just watching what we're doing. And he really enjoyed this area. This is me trying to find a clear spot to set up our Starlink. And
that's what Maury was looking at.
Yeah, this is our power. It's an inverter hooked up to the battery. Not very efficient, but it worked.
That was a duck, a female duck. There was another female duck, mallard, with her ducklings that used to hang out by our campsite until Maury said hi.
Yeah.
And then she quacked, and all the ducks got in a row, and they left.
Yeah.
And hung out by Donna.
Right. So we really, really enjoyed LaSalle. We thought that this was a place that we would certainly like to go back to again. Oh, that was our pit toilet that was closest by, and that is not an illusion. That thing was actually at that angle. And the view from inside the trailer.
It also gave us, you saw some photos, a hint of what was to come with rainforest. It was very rainforesty between the sites.
So this is us on the way out. Again, going up that steep hill. My only recommendation is if you got a heavy trailer, just make sure you've got a truck big enough to get it out of there, because that was a pretty steep hill.
And when it says 400 meters to LaSalle Lake, slow down and look for slight openings in the height.
Look for the sign in the ditch.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we decided that we were going to make a point of interest stop. And there's an area between Prince George and McBride called the Ancient Forest. Now, we have driven past this thing dozens of times, and we've never stopped. You stopped once.
With our boys.
Right.
And got out and go, yeah, they look like trees that we've been passing. But you walk in.
And it's very different.
Those were hints of what to come for future episodes.
Right. Next episode, we're actually going to go into detail about Ancient Forest. And we think it's important to just kind of bring that into, attention and awareness of what is actually there, because we never did. And then we spent 2 weeks in the Prince George area.
This is to my younger sister's property,
we hung
farm.
out. Yep.
Hubs has cows, cattle. She has horses. And so we dealt with both. Maury sampled.
Yeah. And we both got down and got some work done. You were out harrowing.
Yes, I learned how to drive a tractor.
Yeah, and mucking out barns.
Marcia was right there telling me how to do the harrowing. And
Right.
This is Sadie. This is Poppy.
And this is my friend Kelly. Kelly and I worked in radio together 1975 to 77 in St. Paul and 77 to 79 in Prince George, and I haven't seen him since 79. Looked him up and we went out for lunch. It was very nice to...
You had to look him up through his wife because he's not on social media. And these are more dogs.
Yeah, so this is this isn't Sadie. This is... Daisy. And Daisy is a chewer. And so in order to prevent her from chewing through our cables, we came up with a solution to put logs and boards across our power cable all the way up to hook into the shore power. And we also had to fill up our water tank because leaving a water hose out, it was going to get chewed through. So we just filled up our tank and then put the hose away. And the horse is in the background.
In her defense, she's only a year.
Yeah.
She's still a puppy.
Yeah.
So hopefully the chew days will pass.
And I helped to install an outhouse. So Libby's sister Barb teaches a lot of classes, riding classes and stuff. And they needed a bathroom facility that was a little closer to the arena than the house. The house is quite a distance from here. And so they bought a pre-made outhouse. And then Bill and I spent a couple of days getting the ground ready to go, getting the base built, getting everything leveled, and everything had to be completely lined up because the interior of the outhouse had to fit directly on top of the tube, and there was a 1/16 of an inch give from where we had to put this thing down. And so lots of measuring and more measuring and then more measuring and then cutting and then more measuring. We got it done in the first go around, but Bill's an engineer, so I would have expected that he would have the skill and talent to be able to get that figured out.
You were off by
a 1/16 of an inch. We had a 1/16 of an inch give, and that's how far we were off, so we were able to slide it right into place, and Maury got to check it out.
Well, he was the chief inspector.
Yep. So the other thing that was nice here is being able to take Maury out for walks off leash. We're out in the wilderness, and so he got to go out with the dogs.
70 acres. Barb has 70 acres. I don't know how many Martian. They're at opposite sides of Prince George. So.
Yeah. So after a couple of weeks of lots of very tasty meals and lots of visiting, and it was time to get going. And so this is on us on the little gravel road after another night of rain. heading out of the Prince George area. So
It didn't really rain when we were at Marcia or Barb's. It sprinkled.
sprinkled. Yeah.
We had a lot of sprinkling over the days and months. No, very, very few downpours, but we have had the downpours.
So that kind of brings you up to date to this part of the travels. Now, from here, we're going to be spending another couple of weeks in the BC area and then heading back to Alberta.
We went west.
Yeah. And our goal on this is to get as far west on this road as we can, well, not on this particular road, but on Highway 16 as we can go, which would take us up to Prince Rupert. And that's what the plan is for the next leg of this travel, is to head up to Prince Rupert area and spend a few days in that vicinity. So overall, what are you thinking about the trip thus far?
Good.
Yeah. Having fun?
Yes. And I'm not really minding being wet because we're not in a tent.
Yeah. Having the trailer is making a huge difference.
Yeah, it has. It has.
And it was good spending some time with your sisters. The one sister that we didn't stay with came out to visit, and we didn't stay at her place because I don't think I was ever going to be able to get the rig up her driveway.
As I told her, your driveway is rather challenging.
Yeah.
And it is. And she agreed.
Right. So, but it was good spending time with family and good getting reacquainted with
friends.
And friends.
I got to meet a couple of friends while I was there.
Yeah. So that brings you up to date on this section of the trip, and we look forward in a couple of weeks to giving you some more details on our BC adventures. And in the next episode, we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about lessons learned. By that time, we have been out for 3 months, and lots of things that we have come to understand. And we're also going to take you on a detailed journey through ancient forest.